How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So you're my second guest for One of One. I named it One of One basically because each are unique and there's only one of you.
Right, yeah, yeah.
You're our first guest or second guest, but first guest of Sunday today. Can you introduce us? Give us your name, what kind of art you produce, and where you're from?
Yeah, sure. My name is Kevin Johnson, named after my father. Uh, the kind of art I produce is primarily spoken word poetry. I do a little bit of music here on the side sometimes, um, mostly spoken word though. So poetry to be performed, uh, and also I work on kind of like poetry for like print type work, that type stuff, so like stuff that you would find in a regular like print publication, like a book or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the next question.
Yeah,
So our first guest we had yesterday, Kareen, she has a degree like you in communications.
right.
Inspired you to go that route with higher education? And can you walk us through your journey as far as school goes or went?
School was a really huge part in like me finding what it is that what it is that I really like love to do. Uh, it showed me a lot about spoken word and like how it affects people and how well, not just spoken word but like art in general, like how it affects people and stuff like that. But as far as like my degree is a different form of communication, so it's multimedia communication. So it's more towards like the whole video production, audio production, graphic design, etc, like that type stuff. While going through that program, I found that I took more of a liking to video production and storytelling, and I think that's kind of like my my biggest thing that I took from college was like I am a natural storyteller in some type of way or some type of form. I want to be able to tell whether it's stories that pertain to me or to other people, so that uh, people can like connect with somebody who they may not have thought they ever would have been able to connect with, stuff like that. As far as like my journey through school, um, when I first got on campus, like I was fresh off of like one of the greatest years I think that I've ever had in my life. Senior year of high school was one of the greatest years for me artistically, physically, and just everything. Like, so I came into college like, if this school that I come to does not have like anything pertaining to like the arts or like spoken word, uh, rapping, acting, singing, anything like that, I was like, I'm gonna create it, because like you know if I don't, I'm gonna be waiting around for somebody who's gonna do it. So I was like, let me get in here and see what I can do. So I got there, and there was nothing at all. No scene. There was literally one other uh spoken word artist on campus, and her name is Shirley, and she's awesome. And I came to her my freshman year, a little old freshman. She was a senior, so she was about to be out of there too. So I was like, dang, is it really about to be just me? But I was like, hey, I'm about to start an organization. I wanted to call it Speak. Would you like to come be, my vice president, and we can see if we can start building some type. And she was like, yo, I'm a senior, so like, I mean, I definitely help you out, but like, I'm gonna be out of here. So, over the course of the years there, I definitely, with the help of so many amazing people that I'm still friends with today and that have become like amazing artists in their own right, we built that scene from the ground up at school, to the point where by my last year there, we were out in the community putting on, shows, putting on open mics, having them for the school. Uh, you know, we even got like the poet laureates of Delaware to come out to some of our events and stuff like that. It was just awesome. We performed all over the place, and we really put the arts like really back into our school. So and after I left, right, like it's still happening. It was still happening to this day. Like the organization that I created back then is still happening, and then you really put everything into perspective. Like, um, people, you know, they're just looking to express themselves, and if you can give them the opportunity, it's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going, and it's like it's a beautiful thing to see. And school literally showed me that like this type of stuff, like this type of like creation is possible. You know what I'm saying? So like even after school, I can, if I was looking to do something similar to that, I know that, I know that one, I can do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's like the first step. So yeah, school was an amazing journey. There's obviously ups and downs because it's school, but I just I just really look back at that time like, dang, like a lot of what I am now came from my experiences there.
Good answer. Yeah, school is definitely challenging. I'm back in school right now, and I'm just like,
I feel you. I feel you. It's rough, honestly, especially. Well, I feel like it's rougher for people who don't really know what they're there for. You know what I'm saying? So, if you know what you're there for, at least you have like a goal, a path to follow. So
you do. Like you, I tried to create a group there because, I mean, it's community college, but like I tried to create a group because I was like, where are the arts? Why does no one care about poetry? Why does no one care about spoken word? And I tried to start it because I put one online class and then I picked one in person so I could like socialize and get the group started.
yeah,
And and I couldn't do it anymore. Like they shut the campus down because someone, um, what was it? Someone contracted it there, so they shut the whole school down. So I had this whole vision. I had made flyers. I was like emailing the school. I had started like recruiting people because they were like, you have to make it an interest group, and then if you get funding and more people to come, um, what did they? Like then you can make it into a full-fledged group. You can accept funding and hold events and stuff. And I had a whole plan, and I was gonna make like a mental health initiative with like the spoken words tied to. I had like this whole plan, and it was like, haha, jokes on you, It's like, so oh God, so I tried to do it online. I was gonna like conduct Zoom meetings and stuff.
yeah,
It working, so I was like, okay, I gotta figure out. Literally, remember I hit you up on Friday. I was like, hey, are you free to do this? I
yeah,
didn't think you answer me. I hit like you and probably like 3 or 4 other people up to see if anybody would even be interested. I was like, I can't come see anybody. My boyfriend was even like, hey, maybe when this is over and people start feeling better, you can do it one face to face and you can invite people over and like create a safe space for artists, to just have that dialogue. But I was like, I need to do something because people's mental down to shit. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but people are really struggling, like more so. And I'm like, me and you were talking about being Black in America and like the mental toll that takes on you. So I was just like, let me see it. And I was just surprised because everyone was like, yeah, we're on board. Like we rock with you. Like we want to do it. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was like, what am I thinking? I was like, this is too crazy. I've tried to create like so many different things, and it never comes to pass. And I was like, I need to do something. So I'm just happy that you and your others have accepted and feel comfortable enough to just
yeah.
talk and truth. So who is this person, Hula Mahaji? Who is that? They're like, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. Do you know that?
So
I know you, but hey, sis, hey. I'm going to go to your next question. Is anyone in your family artistic or creative? If not, when did you identify that art was something that you wanted to pursue on a higher level?
oh man, um, I want to say everybody. Well, almost everybody in my family has some type of like artistic gift. Um, I can go down the line. My dad can draw. Like he can draw from like all he has to do is look at something, and he can really like get things down. He can sketch it out, draw it out. Not really sure how his coloring is, but I know that man can. I know that man can draw, and like seeing that, I'm just like like he has that gift. And then going down like my little brother, he raps, he creates music, he can make beats, he can do all this different type of stuff musically, and he's just really really good. He kind of came into it like a couple of years after I started like really performing. I'm not saying that he's doing what he was doing because of me, but I know that like he really started digging in and started like asking me about like writing and stuff like that when he first started out. And I just told him like as long as your writing was relevant to you, what I'm saying, what you want to write and not what you think people want to hear, you'll be straight. And like he's taken that and he's gone. He's has multiple projects that he's put out, and like he is probably the most creative person in the family. If I had to say, he gets it done. He's down there all the time, every day. He's down there. He's getting stuff. He's getting stuff into his software, and he's putting it out. It's kind of remarkable to see, especially now that we're in quarantine. Like
Right.
as soon as out, he wasn't working and stuff like that, and that man was in the lab. He was downstairs every day, getting stuff out there. So yeah, that man is definitely something. My sister, my older sister, uh, which is funny because she actually, for like a span of like a year or two, started writing and performing spoken word too. And honestly, like I didn't see it coming at all. She hit me up one day. I was still in college. I think I was like in my junior year or something like that. She hit me up and she was like, "Oh, I wrote something, and I'm thinking about going up and performing it." And I was like, "All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna come back home this weekend. We can hit up this open mic or whatever." So I'm expecting her to go up there and have like the first time, stutters and all that good stuff. You're thinking like she like maybe forget a line or something like that. She went up there. She pulled her phone out. She was like, all right, put that thing in her pocket, and I was just sitting in the crowd. Like, I was like, okay, where'd this come from? And she killed it. So I'm not trying to say that it kind of runs in the family, but it might run in the family a little bit. Um, yeah, and it's just crazy how everybody in the family has that type of like power. It's awesome. Um, what was the second part of the question again?
Uh, Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
So, but you said it runs in your family. It runs in your bloodline. You just have to remember that part because
Okay.
a lot of people we
Yeah.
have all extra things going on. Art is like we contribute a lot of art.
Mm-hmm.
The was if not, I was trying to ask you, when did you identify that art was something you wanted to pursue? Because it's not an easy decision to make.
Yeah. So the exact point I'm not sure of, but I do know that a lot of this like fire started back when I met Jaren, as you know. I know the very first time I was in the crowd watching this man perform something, I sat there and I was just in awe. And I was like, looking around. Honestly, it wasn't even so much of what he was saying at that point. Like, because I was still like in an area where I was just like, I don't know what this man is saying right now. But like, it's so like the way he's performing it is crazy. But I was more so looking around the crowd, right? I was sitting in like the like a couple rows back so I could see people in front and to the side and obviously behind me. So I'm sitting around looking around and I'm just looking at how his words are affecting people. Like, well, some people are like, on the brink of tears. Some people are looking at him with like they probably don't notice it, but their mouths like wide open looking at this man like, bro. Some people aren't really paying attention because they don't understand it, and I understand that too. I understand that side as well. And then and then some people are really like cheering this man on and like really feeling what he's saying, and I'm sitting here like all this man is doing is sitting on stage and he's speaking to people. That's all he's doing. At that point, that's all I thought it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw that, and the man sits like literally right next to me in class, and he was telling me that he was gonna do this, and I was just like, okay, cool, I'll look out for you. And then when I saw it, I was like, bruh, I want to do that. Like I have to figure out how to do that somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? So I go out there to him, and I'm just like, hey, like I want to get into writing. I didn't even think about performing. Like, forget all that. Like, I was like, I don't know if I can get on stage. I just want to start writing and see if I can get some stuff down. And we talked about it, and from that point, it was just history, man. I just was so inspired to write stuff. And back then, like comparatively to what I write, something I would write now, it was bad. But at the time, like I would bring that to him, and I'd be like, yo, you gotta listen to this, and I always wonder, like, bro, I wonder if anytime I brought him something, he was like, yo, this is trash, but I'm gonna tell you it's nice. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but I brought it to him, and like I was just so inspired, and I kept like getting better to the point where he was like, hey, look, next year at the show, how about we both do it? And I was like, hold up. So like you want to write with me? Like, am I worthy? Am I good enough yet? Like, you know what I'm saying? So we get that down and we go up there, and that's the first time I ever performed ever. I was on stage with him, and I was nervous as a mug the first time, but like I didn't mess up the first time. So like I once like I started saying stuff, and I was like, okay, this feels good. This feels natural. Like I'm good. I had it all committed to memory and everything. So we from that point on, it was just like I sat there in the crowd. I watched him. I watched how his words moved people. I went through the process of creating my own stuff, and then he took me to the part where I could also do that for people. And then when I got to that part, and I saw people started coming to me after and saying like, dang, bro, like I really felt that and stuff like that. I was like, okay. So, and the poem wasn't really about anything super deep or anything like that. It was like, it was, looking back, it was kind of a weird piece that we did. But like now I look forward and I was like, look, if I'm writing about stuff that actually like pertains to people, like obviously the stuff that I released the other day, then that's something that that can help people, you know what I'm saying, going forward. So I look at it like this now. Like if I'm producing art, if I'm producing spoken word poetry or whatever, it has to be something compelling enough for people to feel. It could be about any topic, and I can relate it to anything, because I've got to the point where like I can take concepts and I can flip them and I can, make them, sound like anything that I want them. I can manipulate them to sound like whatever I want them to sound like. But, if it's not, at the end of the day, if it's not driving some type of message, if it doesn't have some type of like, substance to it, I'm not going to write it, or I'm not going to put it out. So, going through that whole time period showed me that like, this is something that I'm always going to have, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's something that's never going to go away. So I might as well take it and nourish it, and keep doing it, because it's helping. Even if it only helps one person, you're doing a good job, I think.
Right.
So that's how I see it. Yeah.
That was a good answer. So what is the subject of your content matter, and what subjects do you gravitate toward the most?
Okay, I want to answer the second part of that first. So I don't particularly gravitate to any specific like subject matter, right? I write what is compelling me at the time. And when I dropped the piece yesterday, I put a quote along with it from Nina Simone, and she said that the most important thing as an artist is to reflect the times, right? So I look around myself, I see what's happening today. Like obviously today is a great example because of the stuff that's happening today. We as artists, I feel like it's almost like a duty, almost sometimes. It almost feels like it at sometimes, like an obligation to like use our gifts to help uplift people. We may not be out there like physically on the streets with people. We might not be out there like, in the riots and the protests and stuff like that. But we have gifts that are like a revolution inside of us that we can use. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, if you're an artist in any way, shape, or form, whether it's with words, with a paintbrush, with a pencil, with anything, like if you got to use it to connect with people, and the best way to do that is look at what's happening. So, in any instance, like in any period of time, I'm looking around, I'm seeing what's really happening today. I'm seeing what's happening to me, stuff that's relevant to me, and I'm gonna write that. So I sometimes make pieces for fun. So like that may not be anything like with a crazy message or something like that. But sometimes people make art for fun. You obviously can make art for fun. You're supposed to have fun doing it. But like for me, I like to talk about a lot of different subjects. So it's just whatever I'm drawn to at that moment, at that time. But like I said, in times like this where it's just like the air is thick with like what's happening, like I'm gonna write about it, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what's inspiring me. That's what's on my mind the most. Yeah, that's just kind of what I see. But like looking back through my history and stuff like that, I can't really pinpoint a specific topic that I write about the most. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of some stuff is weird, some stuff is cool, some stuff is like, you know, very pro-black, some stuff is, you know, very like imagery based stuff that's like you would find in like older poets, stuff like that. Like not so much for spoken word, but more so for print and stuff like that. I do a lot of different types of things because I just like to, you know, be flexible with my art. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be confined to one specific topic because, like, just like an actor can get typecasted into a role, a poet can get typecasted into a subject matter. Like, if you only write pro-black poems and that's all you're sharing, that's all you're showing, people are going to be like, okay, well, when's the next, you know, Black Power poem? You know what I'm saying? And that happens to people, honestly. So you just like to, you know, dibble and dabble everywhere.
Um, who are some of your favorite writers and why?
Some of my favorite writers. Honestly, when it comes to people who are maybe well known, uh, I don't really have that many. A lot of my favorite writers are people that I've met over time, like
Right.
people I can literally reach out and contact right now. But growing up through the art form, I really liked watching like uh, what's his name? I really like Rudy Francisco at the beginning. Some of his stuff later, uh, I feel like I kind of like took a little bit of a turn, not in a bad way, but like it wasn't like the stuff that I liked, you know, growing up, and that's fine because like people's art changes as they change. Um, uh, as far as like authors, I really like Ellen Hopkins. Um, if you don't know who that is, she wrote the whole Crank series, um, and those books. Every page is a poem, but like it's a story. So like it's ridiculous the way she did it, and like I always remember looking at that, and I was like, "No, this is like the coolest thing I've ever seen." Like, how do you tell like a whole story? But like you could take every single poem almost out of context and like have it as like a standalone. It's ridiculous. Um, but my favorite writers, honestly, like um, a lot of them came from school. A lot of them came from experiences over time. Like Jaron, still to this day, is obviously one of my favorites. I mean, I'm not sure if he still, you know, does it like he
Right.
did, but you know, some of the stuff that he shared to me over the time really changed my perspective. I definitely, when I began, started trying to start. I tried to start emulating stuff that he would do, and obviously from there, I branched out and got my own voice. But he was the one in the beginning. I met some people in school that are really awesome writers. Like my roommate, actually, he's really great at writing. His name is Dom. I met a guy named Patrick Slosher, who's like one of the most like dynamic writers I think I've ever met. I know so many. I'm probably just gonna go through people that were in my organization. Honestly, they inspired me every single day that I was in school, and I really fed off of what they were saying, and I really felt what they were talking about. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, I don't really have like a favorite. I just like really like the people who, you know, I can reach out and talk to, because like then we can like, you know, bounce ideas off each other, feed off each other and stuff like that. That's just what I like to see, honestly. Like, you know, I've come in contact with so many different artists, so you know, I've heard so many different pieces that I can't really look back and be like, oh, you know, that person right there. Like I don't sit down and like consume like one person's art. Like I said, just like how I write from a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different about a lot of different topics, I listen the same way. So
What are some places in the East Coast you have performed at? And you said you don't really have favorites, so I don't want to keep asking you, oh, which one was your favorite and why? If you just want to where you normally perform at post COVID-19, that'd be great.
yeah, so contrary to popular belief here, I actually do have a favorite when it comes to this question. Uh, so first I'll say like I performed a good amount in the DMV area. So DC, Baltimore, uh, different places in you know Maryland. Obviously, I went to school in Delaware, so I performed in a lot of different places in Delaware as well. I performed in PA. I performed in uh, Virginia too, probably like once or twice. Um, but that was a long time ago. But my favorite place to perform ever is still to this day uh, Busboys and Poets on Fifth and K in DC. And the reason that is because that's the very first place that I performed like outside of school, and I had my very first like real performance in front of people that I didn't know. Like when I performed in school, I looked out into the crowd and I'm like, "Hey, I have a class with you next after this, right after this performance. You, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know these people are like, I've seen these people up and down the hallways all the years I was there, so I was like, cool. But when I went to Fifth and K for the first time, I looked out into the crowd and all I saw was Jaron and yeah, his people. I didn't even go there with my people. I went there with his family, and they were in the back right. So like, if I'm looking straight ahead, it's a sea of people who I don't even know. So, uh, yeah, and I definitely messed up that time. I remember, but I was like, yo. Looking back, I had fun because like it was just a different experience. People still came up to me and said that they felt what I said and stuff like that, and I was like, you know, I have to reimagine how I'm performing now because now if I'm performing at places like this, um, people aren't gonna know who I am, unless I'm like a repeat performer and people see me go before. But yeah, I love going down there and performing. It's always like anytime that they have open mic and I can make it, I'm in there. And they've had some crazy features. Honestly, that's where I met Rudy Francisco and Jasmine Mans uh, at the same time. They both performed there, and I got to talk to them, speak to them afterwards, and that was like that was an experience too because like I grew up watching their stuff. You know what I'm saying? So um, yeah, like I said, but that's definitely my favorite place. But my favorite performances definitely were always in Delaware because those were the most recent ones. Um, yeah, those were the most recent ones, and those were the ones that I did with the most people that you know that I knew and that I respected through my organization and stuff like that. And then obviously it's because like, in more cases than not, I was throwing the events which I was performing at. So, that's also a part of it. A lot of great memories when it comes to Delaware performances. But I look to, post COVID-19. This is supposed to be a big year for me to, start getting back out there and performing. But obviously, COVID came in and was like, hey, let me hold those plans for you. I'll give them back later. I'll let you hold them later. But right now, I'm going to need them. I'm going to take them. And then, with all this going on right now, um, you just don't see it. I just don't see when that's going to be a thing. But when it is, whenever things blow over and stuff like that, I'm definitely trying to get back out there, and I'm definitely using this time right now to create some stuff that'll be worthy of performing later. So
Um, which one do you like better, performing or writing?
writing all the time, writing. I love performing. Don't get me wrong,
Great.
because I feel like it's okay. Put it like this, right? I get a better feeling from completing a good piece than I do from completing a perfect performance. You know what I'm saying? Like if I go through a whole performance, I don't mess up, I don't stutter on anything, and I get my message across, it feels amazing. But it doesn't feel as good as like if I'm struggling with a piece for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I finally get the line, or I finally get like the part that I was struggling on, and I get it all together right, and it flows perfectly. At that point, I'm looking at it all like, God dang, like I really just did that. And then I get the excitement to perform it. But writing is always the best process, like because it's something that, you know, I don't need an audience for. I don't need well, yeah, I don't need an audience. I don't need people in front of me to say it to. All I need is myself, a room, a pen or whatever, and start getting stuff down. And once I'm done, like I said, it's just a better feeling to me than if I'm performing. Like now, like I said, don't get me wrong. If you're on stage in front of a lot of people and you're performing and you're killing it, it's a transcendent type feeling, but like you have to remember you wouldn't be there if you didn't write it. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're
True.
cover, but you know, but at the same time, it's like if I didn't write this, if I didn't spend that time to get all this stuff down, then I wouldn't be on stage with it. So that's how I.
Yeah. Okay. I'm liking your answers so far. So we're a little more like political or serious. Does your experience as a Black man in America come through in your art? And when or where do you choose to tap into that?
Um, yeah, definitely, definitely, and and being Black, is such a collective experience as we're seeing here. Um, so uh, it comes through mostly in times kind of like how we are in now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it comes through a lot then when I'm inspired by seeing what's happening around me. Being Black is an everyday thing. We don't get to take breaks. We don't get to, you know, not wear our skin for one day. You know what I'm saying? So we go outside and we are under a different mindset than, you know, other races. So just that, you know, just that in itself is gonna make somebody want to, like, you know, get that out there somehow, like express how they feel about it. And we're seeing it today in the various ways that people are expressing it. Obviously, after such injustice that happened with Floyd, you know, people are going to be out there doing what they have to do. So when it comes to like writing and it comes to like, you know, spoken word and all that stuff, when stuff like this is happening, it's almost instantaneous that I want to do something, you know, because like I said, if we're not out there with them, protesting and stuff like that, we'll always have that gift. We'll always have that voice to maybe articulate some things that people can't do themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe add some unique perspective, um, in any type of way. Art is always such a great catalyst for, you know, social change and, you know, uh, political, you know, activism and stuff like that. It's always has been. It always will be. So, um, my experiences as a Black man might be literally different from, another Black man's experience. You know what I'm saying? Because of like how and where we grew up and stuff like that, and how our families were growing up and stuff like that. But like I said in the beginning, since being Black is such a collective experience, just by talking to people who may have had different backgrounds, I might be able to help them tell their story through my art. You know what I'm saying? I might be able to take their perspective on a certain issue after understanding where they're coming from. And that's the beauty of art. Like you don't always have to, you know, you don't always have to, you know, be the speaker of your own pieces. You know what I'm saying? You can get into the head or the mind of somebody else and write from their perspective and stuff like that. And when I first started out writing a lot, that's the main type of piece I would create. Because like I really didn't know what I had to offer to a certain situation sometimes, but I knew what somebody else might. So I would go talk to them. I would understand what they're talking about. Then I would write from their perspective. And that way it immediately resonates with them because it's their story. You know what I'm saying? You're telling other people's stories. And then you can always put some of what you feel into it and stuff like that. But, you know, it just depends on the piece you're writing. But yeah, so honestly, it's a duty, and it's a duty to just keep getting that out there. You know what I'm saying? Keep getting, um, your experiences, stuff that you're going through out there, because you just never know who it can help. Um, and just making sure that you're just making sure that you're getting your point across in any way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? Because like people are going to do that regardless. People are out there doing it right now as we speak in many various ways. So you find out what works for you and you do it. So yeah.
Have any words of encouragement you can leave Black male viewership with?
Oh yes. Well, first things first. Um, if you haven't already, you got to learn that, a lot of people in this world aren't gonna love you because of literally what you look like. So it's important to first and foremost develop a sense of love for yourself, right? Um, Society and people are going to try to tell you to not love who you are because of what you look like. And they may not come out and directly say those words, but they'll do it through other ways that are sneaky and manipulative. Um, but if you first and foremost love yourself, right, you're going to it's like a shield almost. It's going to protect you from what people can try to sway you from, people trying to tell you that you're less than. You know what I'm saying? If you love yourself, that automatically makes you think of your worth more when it comes to that type stuff. Um, when when you're out in the world today, um, you, I encourage obviously you to, be careful because people are losing their lives at an increased rate. But at the same time, at all times you should be proud of who you are. So don't back down from expressing your opinions, your ideas, your thoughts, because they are relevant, regardless of what people are going to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they love to devalue the voice of a black man in this country, but uh, you should know that no matter where you're from, no matter how impoverished your situation may be or how amazing your situation may be, your voice still matters because you're going through that collective experience that I was talking about back then, of being black in this country. Like we're all going through it at all different types of levels, social statuses, or whatever. No matter if you have $1 million or if you have literally nothing, you're still looked at as a black male. And no matter, like, money's not going to change that, fame is not going to change that, nothing's going to change that. Police roll up on you, he does not care what's in your pockets. He doesn't care. Well, he doesn't care what's in your wallet. He doesn't care about your net worth. He is, or she is, just they're already looking at you differently. So uh I just encourage people to get educated in what you can do to better the experiences of somebody close to you first, and then other people. What can you do to become to not become a bystander? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't have to be out there in the streets protesting if that's not you,
Right.
but what other things can you do? You know what I'm saying? Silence is the biggest thing that's plaguing people. By not talking about it, by not speaking on it, by not offering your opinions, you're not contributing. You know what I'm saying? So the biggest thing, like, and the biggest thing I guess I can say as advice, and I say this to artists in general, no matter the color, is use your voice. Just use it. You know what I'm saying? You have it for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Speak on the things that are relevant to you. Speak on the things that can help other people, and if anything at all, on the lowest level, it will at least bring awareness to a certain subject. Now, for me, sometimes awareness isn't enough, but it's something, because like people can be aware of something but still not do anything. But like people may not be aware, and you might be the one to bring them to a place where they can do something, and that's valuable within itself. So use your voice. And your voice, when I say voice, I mean your literal voice, yes, but your voice could be the way you portray yourself through your hobbies, your arts, anything. Like um use it to change, use it for change, use it to help people understand what's going on in the world if you have a perspective on that. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I see it. I feel like we just need more of that today, because you see the black community rally around things that happens like this today, and you see a lot of people who are living lives kind of maybe similar to what you're living, but they're out there, and they're using their voice in the way that is relevant to them to evoke social change and hopefully one day lead to some more justice for our kind. You know what I'm saying? um, however that looks like. So yeah.
a very good detailed answer. Your mental health been with everything that's happening, pandemic, police brutality, rioting? Like, are you stable? How, if you're not, like, how are you finding your, like, your even keel or your even ground?
Right, good question. I like to think I'm doing all right because there is a lot of like we were talking about, there's a lot of things going on right now, and it's kind of exhausting to continue to consume that type of content over and over. Like right now, like for the last like week and a half or whatever, like if I'm hopping on Twitter, I'm not seeing anything else. You know what I'm saying? I'm not seeing anything else. Like it's either COVID. Well, it's not even COVID anymore, but like it's the stuff that's happening through the world right now. But even before this, like the whole COVID stuff was exhausting as well. Like you hate to see um, all the stuff that's happening. But the thing is, like we become so desensitized to stuff because of the fact that it's all in our face, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like we're looking at it and we're like, dang, I feel like I should have more of an emotional reaction to this type stuff. Like honestly, like when I watched the video of George Floyd, like I was able to watch it all the way through and not like turn away. And I would look at that in the contrast of some of the other uh, people that were literally murdered on camera and stuff like that. Like the first time I ever saw it, like I was, I couldn't get through the video. You know what I'm saying? But like as time gone on, we see it so freaking much that I'm just like, dang, like I didn't even like bat an eye. Like I'm still angry and pissed about the situation, but like
Right.
somebody literally just lost their life in front of my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not reacting to it. So we have to look at it like this: like what we're seeing is and when you're starting to feel like that, it's almost like what you're seeing is becoming like a norm in some type of way, and that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? So looking at all this is very, very taxing on people. And I know some people that are just like, taking a day, they're turning their phones off, they're letting stuff rock because like, they've been, that's all the content you're going to consume if you're on social media right now. It's all you're going to see. People are talking about it, which is good. People are obviously protesting. If you turn the news on right now, you're going to see it. It's like omnipresent right now. So uh personally, uh I'm doing all right because I always had of that method of like releasing what's on my mind, and obviously that's why we're here, because as artists we have that luxury. I think of it as a luxury to like use whatever art that we're into to relieve these feelings. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's just therapeutic in a sense that you know if I'm feeling angry about something, I can write down how I feel angry about it in a creative way. I'm still going to be angry, of course, but like at least for the time, I'm soothing. I'm soothing what I'm feeling, and I know a lot of people, who don't, who aren't artistically inclined, who release it in other ways. So, i.e., you're going to see people out protesting and stuff like that. Um, so it's all this whole situation and everything that's happening. Like you're just seeing all these different people, just getting everything that's within them out. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting it out there in the open, and it's definitely a time to see, because you're seeing all the different ways people, you know, kind of like relieve themselves of that type of stress, that type of anger. There's peaceful protests. There's people dancing in the streets. There's people, obviously looting stores and stuff like that, going through stuff, doing, wild and crazy stuff. But at the same time, you know, I see why. I see why for everything. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not condemning anybody. I see why. Um, so yeah,
We're beyond tired, and I feel like Black rage is real.
yeah,
Like no one about it, because sometimes I find myself like boiling, like I'm hot, and I'm like, what do I do with this? There's like so many. I feel like Black people already like intrinsically or generationally have a lot of trauma. We deal with our own shit, and then it's like outside stuff just like it keeps piling on the plate. I was telling my boyfriend yesterday, it's like, like the lunch lady, she keeps like dumping more on your plate, and you're just
Yeah,
like, I don't want the fucking food. Sorry, excuse
all good. Uh, yeah,
me.
definitely.
And it's problematic. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to tell my kids when I have them? I'm terrified to have kids. I don't even like. I really want to be a mom. That's like my one thing I feel like I was meant to do. And I feel like art has given me a way to be a mom without having kids. But I'm like, and you know what? I'm in an interracial relationship too, so I've been met with a lot of challenges
Yeah,
because I know that not all other races are quote unquote bad, but I'm like, if my son gets pulled over, what is he going to say? My dad is white. I'm good. I get a free pass. No, he doesn't. They're going to see him as a black child, especially if he has my hair, my nose, my lips. I'm just worried. I'm like, what do I do? And I'm like, then they might have an identity crisis because the way the world might view them, they might not know how to tap into their blackness. They might not know how to tap into their Caucasian side. And I'm like, what do I do here?
yeah,
You I'm so lost. I'm like, I really want to marry my boyfriend. I really want to have kids with him and build together. Um, him because he didn't really know before he met me. I'd be putting him on to stuff. We stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning last night talking about race and police brutality. People were riding like up the street from our house. Um, we were looking into that and just we couldn't sleep. We were just like anxious. I was like, what do I do with this? And then I have to go to work and like suppress it until I can be in my safe space. And I'm like, even at home, Black people aren't safe. I thought I would be safe in my own house that I pay for, and I'm not.
yeah, yeah,
It's that. It's really disturbing. I'm just like, you know, all I can do is just communicate with my ancestors and lean on them
mm,
and make art and have conversations like this.
yeah, yeah,
Self-care is really important. Sometimes you do have to turn off your phone. Sometimes just doing nothing. Don't look at your phone. Don't be on the internet. Don't even watch TV. Read a book. Go
yeah,
sit outside. Talk to somebody.
yeah,
Um, it it just makes me so sad because I'm like I already struggle with depression and anxiety just from previous trauma, and then like this stuff. It just like you said, I don't watch the videos. I can't. I don't. I can't. I can't find the strength to do it because I'm like I'm already sensitive. I know. I internalize a lot of stuff, and I'm like, how do I internalize racism? How white supremacy? How do I internalize white privilege? And I'm in love with a white man. That just add that to the and he doesn't understand. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna be the motherfucking one to teach you. Like,
okay.
of a Black woman, you're gonna understand her struggle.
Yeah,
That's all. So, yeah, I purposely wore this shirt. I was like, I'm totally trolling by wearing this shirt. I don't care.
no,
I love it, but it's like the hardest job I've ever had for real.
yeah,
It's really. I'm just like, and my mother is a light skinned woman, so I'm like, she has her own set of things that she's going through, but I'm like, you have two brown children, with
yeah.
But anyway, I could ramble all day. Are there comments or remarks you'd like to make for the viewers, and also drop your social media handles if you can.
Oh, okay. Well, as far as comments and remarks, I definitely wanted to say something that you just said. You said about having kids and something like that. I feel you on that. Like I was definitely thinking about like, dang man, like bringing a kid up in this world right now is probably going to be ridiculous. But I do believe, and I'm not a parent now, but I can almost definitively say that we're gonna really have to like educate them,
Yeah.
like educate them way more than like maybe our parents had to with us, because of everything that's happening right now. There's so many different, like, our parents didn't grow up with social media and stuff like that, and it's inevitable that our kids are going to grow up with it and probably master it to an extent that we didn't either, because that's just how things happen as time goes along. But at the same time, you know, and even obviously off of social media, we're like our black children are going to, face, similar situations. And if they don't know how to act or know how to handle certain situations, then we're going to have repeat stuff like we're happening now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that, you know, Floyd died because he didn't know how to handle the situation, but I'm saying there's so many different like things that can happen to us out there because of how people feel about us, and we can't rely on an education system that is primarily founded by, you know, white people to teach us how to, you know, basically survive in the climate today. Not saying, I mean, I don't know what stuff's going to look like, you know, 15, 20 years from now, but if it's anything like the trend that's going on, I can only see it being the same, or maybe even a little worse if we're not really, uh, you know, educating our kids. But like, if you have kids and you educate them on what's going on and what's in, you know, what they can do, then we can sit back knowing that, you know, with our, at least with our kids, we did our part. Like, now the same thing has to apply for white white parents as well. If they're truly allies, like they say, like some of them say they are, then they are going to have to really, you know, educate their kids so that they don't raise kids that might end up getting or killing, you know, one of our kids. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's, racism is definitely not something that somebody is born with. It's learned. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if we're educating them on, you know, obviously not how not to be, you know, well, if they're educating their kids on, you know, how not to be racist, and how to be more understanding and how to be allies, then, you know, we'll see a future that is brighter than the one that we're currently in now. But that's all up to time. We don't know what's going to happen, but we can control our parts. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to add to the whole kid situation that she brought up earlier. Yeah, and other than that, man, like I appreciate you letting me come on here and speak. It's always a pleasure to, you know, speak to you in any you know regard. But for anybody, you know, who has been through here and was watching, like, I just encourage you to, you know, you may not know what to do, but you can find out. You know what I'm saying? You may not know who to talk to. You can start, you know, with people close to you. You know what I'm saying? Bounce some ideas off people. Speak out. Don't stay silent on stuff that's happening right now, no matter who you are. Um, and yeah, keep going forward, knowing that, you know, there are people out there who care about you. Even people that you may not even know, people out there that are fighting for the stuff that you believe in right now. And as far as art goes, if you're trying to be an artist, if you are an artist, keep pushing out content that's relevant to you. Use your voice to break down barriers, to break down walls, to literally move things that are in your way out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Because you have that power as an artist. It's the unique power that, you know, all artists, I feel like, share. We all have the power to move mountains, you know, with whatever we were blessed with. And continue, you know, continue. Don't stop. Don't quit. There's gonna be times where you don't feel like creating. There's gonna be some times where you literally can't bring yourself to do it. And I understand. I've been there. I recently came out of a period like that. So, you know, it happens. It happens in cycles. But when you get yourself out of that, or when you're pulled out of that by whatever, you know, get to it. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you love to do it. That's something you always got to remember. You love to do it. It's not going to go away. And it's not something that you wake up one day and you don't have anymore. So it's always there.
Right.
But yeah, social medias. I have two Instagrams. I have one strictly for content and one personal. The one I'm on here is my personal one, which is I Am Spoken by KJ, but my content page is just Spoken by KJ. I'll put like small free writes videos that I do. So like the video that I put yesterday will eventually end up on that channel. I usually put stuff on my personal first, and then let all my content like rest there. I have a YouTube channel. I don't really do too much on that right now. I will get back to it obviously once I can start getting back out and filming stuff, like without this, you know, with all the COVID stuff going on. Here on Twitter, I'm just Spoken by KJ as well, and yeah, I also also play a lot of video games. I stream on Twitch, and I also talk about, you know, similar stuff like this while I'm playing. So like I like to have conversations over there. So if you are in that, if you are interested in that type of stuff on Twitch, same thing, Spoken by KJ, same logo, same everything. So yeah, that's all my social handles, and yeah, hopefully y'all come through, hang out, or you know, follow the message, follow the movement. You know what I'm saying?
But I said Twitter, Instagram trying to kick us out. We got like a minute left.
Oh,
Yeah, it says like a minute and 30 or a minute and 30 seconds or something like that. But I really appreciate you coming on and giving up your time, because I know you have other things to do. Your dialogue and your honesty and just being vulnerable and open. So I really appreciate it. I'm going to hit you up after this.
all right.
Good one.
Thank you.
Bye.